Joel Embiid, Joel Embiid, Joel Embiid.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first day every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On 76ers network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. If you guys are wondering why it's so dark in here, I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. At first, I want to say hi. My name is Keith Pompey. This is my right hand, John Mitchell. But what's happening? But I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. We get up this morning to do the podcast. Next thing you know, there's no internet in my room. The internet does not work in the room, people. So what happens is I'm going up and I'm at the rooftop. So I'm on the roof, a beautiful view. I wish you guys could see it. But at the same time, it's kind of like I'm in this room that they have in the rooftop, and it's like dark. And I'm looking around trying to find lights, have a little bit on. So I apologize, but guess what? The show must go on. We have a lot of great information. And I know what you guys came here to hear us talk about is Joel Embiid. And that's what we're going to do. And the thing is, the first segment, we're going to talk about Joel, his injury. But more so, you guys know he's being evaluated. But I think that Joel and the Sixers should say, forget about MVP. Forget about worrying about making 65 games. Right about now, I think they need to shut them down and get them ready. Mm-hmm. We also have a game to preview tonight. But then, last thing is, we got to talk about the Sixers right now. At one point, they looked like a team that could beat everyone. Now they look like a team that can lose to anybody. So guess what? They slid from third to fifth in the East. So we'll talk about that. Mitch, what's your thoughts on Joel Embiid's injury and what they need to do moving forward?
Well, like I said, Keith, man, first of all, it's good to see you in the dark, brother. and my sympathies go out to you. But yeah, it's kind of hard at this point. It's hard to disagree. We see the direction things are headed with his health. You know, we know that they're 26-8 when he's in the roster, when he's in the lineup, and they're 3-9 without him. You know, they have to get him healthy, you know, or as close to being healthy as they can get him. I'm of the mindset now that we're just, you know, this is who Joel Embiid is. No slight on him. I don't think he ducks anybody. I just think, you know, we have to be honest. He has a body that's breaking down. You know, we've watched it progressively. There were questions when Joel came into the league about the health of his body, and now, the knee, it's left knee, right knee, whatever. Now, to be quite honest, if a 255, 260-pound guy falls on your leg and on your kneecap and it's got nowhere to go, you're going to get hurt. You know, which is what happened when Jonathan Kuminga fell on his knee. But he was getting better. You know, he was trying to get back from a knee that was already irritated, and probably the 76ers blundered and stumbled by even having him out there. So, you know, to answer your question after that circuitous route to the question, I think that, you know, he has to get healthy. You know, you can't be are they a top 3 team when he's healthy? Yes. He's healthy 60% of the season. So you got to get him healthy as healthy as possible. and it's becoming cliche, but you got to arrive at the playoffs. Seedings almost be damned. I mean, just you can't just stumble down the standings. Um, but you have to get the guy healthy. You have to get him as close to healthy as can. Quite honestly, I was thinking that they should have shut him down early on this road trip. That was my belief.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that road trip him playing had to do with because he couldn't really move after the Indiana game, right? And you saw him laboring there, but it looked like they kept him in so he could get to his 30 points, plateau, continue the streak, and then they bring him out, right? But when you look at it, he was unable to go against Denver. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, he didn't want that smoke." They're saying how bad it was. Um, I feel like he came back because he wanted to prove a point to people. He wanted to man up. He also wanted to get to that 65. So you're right. This should have shut him down. But the thing about it is, like, I was at the game in Golden State, and he was bad. He looked horrible. I mean, it was hard to watch. It looked like a prize fighter who stepped in the ring past his prime and was just getting humiliated. Right now, again, like, it wasn't like people were schooling him doing this. He just couldn't.
Couldn't move.
He couldn't move. He couldn't move. It was bad, and he was settling for these. Now you know why a lot of times in the playoffs he's settling for these long jumpers because he's banged up and he can't move.
Right.
So you look at it, and then you say, like, yeah, you said seeding be damned. I mean, Joel Embiid, the only how they're going to get out of the playoffs or be successful in the playoffs is if Joel Embiid plays at a high level.
At a high level.
Extremely high level.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you acquire in the trade. I don't care what you do. But unless he plays at extremely high level, they're not going far.
Right.
And when you look at it right now, a lot of these young teams, Cleveland, they lost to Cleveland, right? They lost to they lost to all, like, the Knicks. They lost to the Pacers. I mean, they beat the Pacers once, but then who else did they lose to? I mean, all these teams that are vying for these, like, 4, 5, 6, and 7 spots or whatever, the Sixers have losing records to them.
Yeah.
So that's the crazy part. So yeah, you got to get it. And we're talking about legacy now. Like, we already know that Joel Embiid can score a lot of points. We already know that Joel Embiid won the MVP award. He won it already. We already know that he's the first team All-NBA. But can he get his team out the second round? But he's going to be, if not, he's going to be forever known as an elite scorer, a great regular season player. Right now, his focus needs to be on getting out of the second round, because I'm here to tell you, all he can do is miss 4 games from here on out after today. And it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be hard for him to stay healthy. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. I don't think there's any. I mean, just knowing his history, just beyond the midway point of the season, there's no way in hell Joel Embiid can play the rest of the season and just miss 4 games. It's just not his MO. I mean, I suspect, depending on how this MRI goes, we may find out that, and hopefully that I'm wrong, we may find out he may have to sit a week or 2 right now. We're just waiting to hear that. So, okay, let's enough of the postseason awards. It's just the only thing that matters is success in the playoffs. And the 76ers haven't been out of a second round since 2001. And that's not all his fault. And he shouldn't look at it that way. But more importantly, the organization has to say, look, this is not about, winning games in Charlotte in February or wherever you may be. I mean, I know you're in Utah tonight. This is about postseason success. He's the last remnant of the so-called process. And here we are. The 76ers, for all intents, it's terrible, but the 76ers are held hostage by perhaps the most talented player in the league. They're held hostage by his health. You can't, because you say let's make a deal, but every deal is contingent on how healthy he is, on how it impacts the team and the league in general. And every time you look at Joel, and it's not his fault. Your body is your body. But every time you look at Joel and where he is, his body is quitting on him, and or he's suffering an unfortunate injury. So get him healthy. And I thought the piece you wrote today said it all. Listen, you know what you have with him. You're a very good team when he's in the lineup. Without him, you're helpless. Without him, you're losing to, you can't beat a Portland. Some of these teams you're going to struggle against. So get him healthy. And again, those last 4 games, you can forget that. That's not going to happen. He's going to miss. He's not going to be in contention for the NBA for the MVP. It's okay. You're the best player in the league. Get healthy, man.
Yeah, get healthy. He has to get healthy. Definitely, he has to knock that out. But right now, I want to talk to y'all about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. We are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharps, you can pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. With the basketball season at the halfway point, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made plus receptions. You want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill or comedian Andrew Schultz? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries for some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week, right? So what do, man? This is what y'all got to do. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. I'm going to repeat that. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100, right? Now I want to talk to y'all about our YouTube channel. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Now, John, we talked about Joel Embiid, and he's the major person that we got to focus on, the reigning MVP and this and that. But these injuries have really hampered this team. I mean, the funny thing is they've only had 9 games this season with this current roster. I'm not, talking about James Harden because James only played 1 game, but they've only had 9 games this season that everyone was available. And we're talking about the 15 standard contract guys. They have a 9-0 record in those games, which is great. 9-0 in those games. But it just seems like Tyrese Maxey's been banged up. Tobias Harris has been sick. Nico Batum had dealt with family issues, right? And that's something that the team knew of before he came. But then he's having these hamstring tightness and the hamstring issues. Now you got Marcus Morris with a banged up foot. It's a lot going on with this team right now, man. It's like, and this isn't the way that you want them to be heading into the All-Star break.
We're a long way away from what was it? The 8-1 start. You're waiting for this team to get healthy. You're waiting for the star to get healthy. You're currently riding your longest losing streak of the season. and it's not where you want to be going into the All-Star break, and it's not where we envisioned. I think it was a little bit of fool's gold that we all went for, seeing Joel, seeing the team come out the gate the way it did, and we all know that if they are healthy, they're top three team in the Eastern Conference. I mean, obviously Boston's number one. Milwaukee's got all kinds of issues. They've changed the coach, but they still can't stop anybody. But if they can, they're going to need the All-Star break as bad as anybody. And personally, I hope I'd like to see Embiid not be a participant in any of the All-Star festivities. Personally,
Nah,
avoid it. I mean, it's great to go, but you've been before. It's not new to you. You've done it before. It's old hat. But yeah, you got to get guys like Tyrese Maxey healthy. You got to get Marcus Morris healthy. Again, but I mean, Covington. Who knows when we'll see Covington again? DeAnthony Melton has just become a mystery, and it's a back injury, so we know that's going to be a problem. So yeah, we've just got to get all these guys. At some point, these guys have got to get healthy, so we can see what they have. And at the top of the pile is Joel.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you all a breakdown of tonight's game against the Utah Jazz, the 76ers injury report. Nico Batum, left hamstring tightness, questionable, right? Robert Covington, left knee bone bruise, out. Mm-hmm. Joel Embiid, left knee injury, out, right? Tyrese Maxey, left ankle sprain, questionable. DeAnthony Melton, lumbar spine response, lumbar spine stress response, out. Marcus Morris, left foot plantar fasciitis, doubtful. So in all these guys we're talking about, Batum is a starter, Maxey is a starter, Embiid's a starter, Melton's a starter. So you got 4 starters, and then you got 2 key reserves who are basically on the injury report, right? Mm-hmm. So when you look at that, they're going to go up against a Utah, about to say Indiana. They're about to go to a Utah Jazz team that's like eager to get a victory. They lost their last 2 games, right? They're probably chopping at the bit. I mean, you know what? They want to pull even on the season at 24-25. And it's going to be an uphill road for them because, man, I'm telling you, here's the thing. This team is better, in my opinion, than that Portland Trailblazers team that the Sixers lost to, right? They're better than, a couple other teams that the Sixers lost to. I mean, marketing, I'm expecting him to be another all-star, right? You got John Collins, playing well. You got Colin Sexton, a speedy guard who can get to his spots. I think it's going to be tough. Then you got Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench. I think it's going to be tough for the Sixers.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy road for them. I mean, granted, they're coming off a 2-game losing streak, and they've been on the road quite a bit lately, and they've struggled. I think they've lost like 5 of their last 7 games. But prior to that, they were a team that had won like 12 or 14, and were trending. They were trending in the right direction, and the Sixers have lost to Portland on this road trip. They've had some ugly losses. They got blown out by Golden State, and with no starters available to them, so you're forced to play guys like Korkmaz. Those guys have to play up. Mo Bamba has to play up. Paul Reed has to play up. So you're looking at guys who are typically who are role players who now you're asking to carry major minutes for you. This is the road trip from hell. I mean, not only are you experiencing problems in the dark room that you're forced to be in right now, but the 76ers are in equally as a dark spot right now with the way things are going for them. To win this game would be a nice momentum builder, ending a road trip with a win. But I didn't see them winning at Portland. I didn't see them winning at Golden State. And if Tyrese plays, they might need a 45, 50-point game out of him to win this game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a lot going on tonight. Um, well, leading into the night, I mean, the shoot around is going to be crazy. The shoot around is going to be crazy because it's like you're going to be looking around, looking like, okay, who looks like they're going to practice, who's not, who's this and that, and it's just going to be a crazy situation. But you know what? I want to talk to y'all right now, before about FanDuel, and before we get into this last segment. Happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is always scoring the best seat on the couch. Me, I'm right now. I'm a best seat, grabbing your favorite football snacks and placing some super bets. Right. So the thing is, FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W or two or three. Not only can you bet on who will win the Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets for which player will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. New customers join today and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit fanduel.com/locked on to sign up. That's fanduel.com/locked on. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports partner of the NFL.
One game left for the NFL.
One game left. One game left. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So today, before the game, we'll find out if Tyrese Maxey made the All-Star team as an All-Star reserve, right? Typically going in there, you would always say like, all right, I know this guy is going to make it, or nah, this guy isn't really going to have a chance. The last time that I was a little iffy on a player was Tobias Harris. The one
Mhm.
year that Tobias Harris was balling and they picked Julius Randle over him, right? The Sixers had the best record in the East at the time. And that was the crazy part about it. That was the year that Joel and Ben made it, but neither
Right,
one of them could play because of COVID, right?
right.
So yeah, it was crazy. But anyway, so when you look at this, Tyrese, I really don't have a sense if is he gonna make it or not. I mean, he put up great numbers, but there's a lot of guards, and you never know how coaches are going to vote, especially right now with the Sixers being a team that's sliding in the opposite direction that they want to be in.
Yeah, Keith, I think that they'll be okay. I think he'll be okay. You know, he's probably the most improved player in the league, and I think the coaches will notice that, but I think coaches also notice that he's forced to he's forced to carry a heavier load because Joel has missed so many games. What was he averaging? 25, 20, close to 26 points a game.
Yeah, 25.
Yeah. Um, I mean, but some guys have come on. Brunson has really come on in the last few weeks. It'll be interesting. I think he's deserving of the All-Star team. But the slide, you people are prisoners of the moment, and the recent slide that they're experiencing is probably going to impact, how coaches vote. But I think he'll make it onto the roster. I'd be very surprised. I mean, it's guy averaging that 25 points per game on a team that has been at the top of the standings, in the top three of the conference. It's kind of hard to dismiss him, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened. He's having a better season now than Tobias had the year he didn't make it.
Yeah, so the thing is, we know that Jalen Brunson is going to make it, right? You just know
Yeah.
that, like he's already man, you might as well say he's the all-star sixth man. He
Yeah.
can make it, right? So then there's other guys who's standing in the way, one being Trae Young. Now, Trae Young is averaging 27 points. I think that Trae Young is a guy who either you love him or you hate him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of those like if you the people who love him, they talk about the points. The people who hate him saying, "Look, that's all he has is points, right?
Defense
That's
spot.
it." Like look at what his team is doing, right? But then so you have that, but then you have guys like what about Jaylen Brown? Is he going to make it? Or what about Donovan Mitchell, which is a prime example? Like, Donovan Mitchell is averaging 28.22 points.
Has
So
he has to make it the way that team is surging.
that's what I'm saying. He has to. So you already have two guards who are going to make it, and Brunson and possibly and well, you're saying Mitchell, Brunson and Mitchell. So they're two guards who are going to make it, and they're easy selections. Like
Yeah.
you can't if you say okay, I'm gonna pick these two. People aren't going to be like, oh, that's crazy. But so my thing is, what happens to Tyrese? I mean, are they going to go with an extra guard
Guard.
or two, or what I mean? What are they going to do? They're going with the forward spots. Like, what about Jaylen Brown? Like, is he going to be on there?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it gets a little iffy to me because there's so many qualified people who can make it. There really are, and I just don't know. I don't have a sense. I
Yeah.
don't know if the Sixers were number one,
It'd be a slam dunk.
be a slam dunk. If they were
Slam
number two,
dunk.
yeah, you
Yeah.
consider it. But if they were number one, so to me, that's not like a concern. Does he deserve to make it? Yeah, he deserves to make it. I believe he does. But it's kind of like when you start factoring in records and all this other stuff and things, I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. You kind of feel for the guy because he's so deserving, but you just don't know, man. I mean, cause think about it. He didn't even get picked for USA basketball top
Right.
41
Right.
when we're looking at him as a great. Now, again, it's a different selection. Really, the coaches picked you for this
Yeah.
All-Star. This one is USA basketball, but for whatever it is, it's like it just seems like he doesn't get that respect that we think that he should get. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. And I thought USA basketball. I mean, I know that they look for guys who do something specifically well. It's not so much like the All-Star game. It's like a long process of team building. But I do believe he should have been in that consideration, the top 41 players for that. But yeah, he could be on the outside looking in, and I mean, Jaylen Brown's had a good season, but Jaylen Brown is playing on a team that is, they are the best team in the league at this point in the season. If you would have just put their numbers side by side, you would probably say Tyrese. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you would probably say Tyrese should get that bid. But I mean, the league is always looking to. I mean, even going back to the days of David Stern, they always want New York to be involved in anything, even though it's been forever since New York won anything. But yeah, this is. I think he's going to make it. I think somehow you're going to see him pop up on there. I think they're not going to hold as much. I think your team doing well helps you. Like Boston's success will help Jaylen Brown more. Uh, but this, I think Tyrese is going to make it. I think he's played well enough. But we'll see. Like you said, stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, and then one thing is, I keep thinking of the guys like Mikal Bridges, but they got him listed as a forward, so
Mhm.
that would be something different. But I do think, from the outside looking in, he deserves to make it as well.
He does.
He does. He deserves to make it. It's crazy. It's going to be a lot. As always, the starters are the easiest thing. I think a lot. Like
Yeah.
you may have one or two, but you know who's going to be there. The reserves is where a lot of the snubs come in at and things like that. So, but look, y'all, we want to thank y'all for listening. We want to thank y'all for basically coping with me being in the darkness, literally on this rooftop. I'm in the inside portion of it, which is, a beautiful scene. I'm like saying that, I'm like, man, why didn't I get this view from my room?
Come into the light. Come into the light.
Yeah, it's crazy, but we want y'all to know that this podcast, you can come to our podcast every day to get news on the Sixers. We are free and available. Um, uh, give you everything. You can also go to the YouTube channel, Locked On 76ers YouTube channel. Click on that Liberty Bell and make you become a new subscriber, and you get notifications. But we'll be back tomorrow with a recap of tonight's game. But we want to say to y'all, peace and have a great day.
Take care, y'all.